Hi everyone, my name is Mark and this is episode 5 of my Daddy Diary. So our little baby girl Sophie is now 5 weeks old. Last week we celebrated the 1 month milestone, as it were. And I also kicked off the week, I took her up to the children's centre to get her weighed and just to have her checked over, and I had a few questions I wanted to ask them. Everything is good. She is, well, as of Tuesday last week, she is now weighing a nice £9 15 ounces, which, according to their graph, the line from where she started to where she is now, she is perfectly in line. She has put on exactly the right amount of weight that we would expect, which is brilliant news, especially considering we were starting to get concerned that the amount of milk she was going through, that she was going to be putting on a bit too much weight, but apparently not. Apparently it's quite alright, so that was actually kind of a nice confidence boost that actually we're not overfeeding her at all. She's doing great. I also asked some questions I mentioned last week, just regarding things like when she cries, and I can't quite work it out, is she constipated, is she having a problem going? And they asked about her poop habits, and so I told them, and they said that it was nothing, it was just, she's obviously a very windy baby and that's why she's getting upset, so just carry on winding as much as you can. They did say that some babies, it doesn't matter how much you try and wind them, there will always be some trapped wind that will upset them, which wasn't great to hear. So as I've mentioned before, that the bottles we're using are anti-colic. We use Infocal as well when we think it's necessary. So it's just a case of now managing that. But I must say, in the last week, things have actually been a lot better. And I can't say 100% if it's that, but we made the decision at the beginning of last week to change her milk. Because we were using the Hip Organic, and for us, well, for her, we found we weren't convinced she was getting satisfied from it, because she would easily do the recommended amount that's on the box twice over. Like, so she was having pretty much double what the recommended amount was. And my concern, and as someone had pointed out to us, you know, her stomach is tiny. You can't just keep putting more and more milk in there. So we thought we'd try a different brand to see if that would help in any way. And so the husband Mark went out and got some SMA Pro. And I'll be honest, in the last week that we've had her on that, she isn't going through anywhere near as much. She is a lot closer to what the the recommended amount is. She still goes over that, but not double it. So I'm not as concerned that we're just like filling up her stomach with all this milk. And in turn, it does seem like she's had a lot less wind as well. Probably because she's not gulping down quite as much food. So it's kind of helped in two ways. Now, that's not to say that is the cause or anything like that. I can only tell you what we've experienced this week. And like I say, from the Hip Organic, which we thought was going to be absolutely brilliant. That, you know, when you look at the nutritional values, they're very, very similar. So I don't know if it's just the formula makeup of it, or I'm no scientist or anything. I can only go by what I see with Sophie, and she does seem to be doing a lot better on the SMA. So we're going to carry on with that for now and see how we get on. I can't remember if I've mentioned bath time in a previous episode or not, but it is one of our favourite things to do. Just because she seems to really, really love it, which is a funny story in itself, because before her first bath, my mum kept teasing me and saying how much she was going to scream, and she was almost revelling in the fact that Sophie was going to give us a tough time, and she didn't, not one bit. She got into that water, she's giggling, kicking her little legs away. She really enjoys it. That said, this week we did have a bodily fluid experience. Not as extreme, don't jump the gun, it's not as extreme as it sounds, But yeah, so she'd already been a bit ratty because I'd got her into the bath, and I think she would have rather had her milk first. But I didn't want to do it that way round, because I didn't. And Sophie doesn't like things to be in an order that she doesn't approve of. So I got her into the bath, she had a bit of a whinge and then settled down, got her all washed, done her hair, got her out into a little Dumbo hooded towel. And I've got her on my lap and I'm drying her off, and I put some talc on, and then I thought I'll give her a bit of milk and then we'll get her dressed, then I'll finish her off with the milk. And then I just noticed this, my leg's wet, and I thought, oh yeah, it's fine, it's probably just from the bath, you know, obviously she's wet. It wasn't until I took the towel off to put her nappy on and whatnot, I realised that she had indeed peed all over my leg and all over the towel, because there was a nice yellow stain on it. Now, I know I don't really need to share that at all, but it just seems like one of those stories that parents share. I don't know if you've got an experience of that, but to me it just always feels like people share the really gross stories and inappropriate stories, whether it's punamis or being peed on after bath time. I did see on Facebook someone I follow had a very unfortunate bath time incident, which, yeah, I'm not going into, and I'm praying doesn't happen to us. Oh no, please don't. As mentioned previously, my husband has been back at work for 2 weeks now, so I've been doing the night feeds during the week and he does the weekends. And to be honest, everything's going really good with that routine. We've got into a bit of a pattern now. Sophie sleeps really well. Yeah, it's been really good. I have had a few people ask me about sleep deprivation, and I'm not going to lie to you that by the end of last week, the struggle was real. On Friday, I was absolutely exhausted. Sophie had a good night's sleep, but we've had 2 or 3 nights now where she has a feed at around sort of 3-4 a.m. and then she'll go back down, and I normally leave it about 15 minutes and then head into the nursery myself to then put my head down. And 2 or 3 occasions now I've gone to do that, and she's obviously deep in the land of Nod and she's having wonderful dreams about, I don't know, unicorns and Disney. I have no idea. But she's dreaming away and she makes the cutest noises. So she's chirping and grunting and just making all these sort of reaction noises to whatever she's dreaming about, which is adorable. It really is, don't get me wrong, it's the cutest thing in the world for the first 20 minutes, and then I can't sleep. I just lay there and I'm listening and I can't sleep. And so I've had 2 or 3 occasions where in that last sort of 3 a.m. to say 6 a.m. I've then not slept at all, and then I'm up to do the next feed. Mark's off to work and I've got the day ahead of me. So yeah, by Friday I was just a little bit exhausted. I was very happy for Mark to take over on the Friday for the night feed, so that I went into our bedroom and had a full night's sleep. And I must admit, I did need that. I'm now refreshed, ready for another week, so we'll see if I make it to Friday again without being really exhausted. That actually pretty much wraps it up for this week. Thank you for stopping by and watching. Don't forget you can also check out my nursery, or our nursery tour video, which I published last week. I'll pop a link down below for that. Yeah, thank you for watching and I'll see you next week. As always, here's some clips of Sophie. Bye.